Demerits of Pitt's India Act, 1784. After 1773, Britain as a country and nation remained occupied with her problems in North American colonies. It continued to receive negative reports on the working of the company government in India under the Regulating Act. Some discussions had taken place in the British Parliament on many embarrassing incidences which had taken place in India. However, Britain was disturbed more by the happenings in American colonies and her conflict with France. Finally, in April 1783, Henry Dundas moved a proposal in the Parliament to reform the legislation on the working of the East India Company. However, it ended without any result. Edmund Burke, who had studied the East India Administration as a member of the Select Committee in 1781, drafted a bill to reform the working of the company in India. Charles James Fox moved that bill in the British Parliament. The main feature of the bill was a suggestion for the formation of a board of 7 independent commissioners in London to look after the administration of the Indian government. However, the Fox's bill was defeated in the House of Lords under the direction of King George III. In 1784, Prime Minister William Pitt the Younger moved the India Bill in 1784, framed after adjusting all the earlier objections. It was passed in both houses and became known as the Pitt's India Act. The Indian problems were known to the Parliament for a long time. When William Pitt the Younger became the Prime Minister, he immediately addressed those problems. In the very first year of his tenure, he brought in the parliamentary legislation. Pitt's India Act established a dual system of government. It was not based on any established principle. Demerits of the Pitt's India Act 1784. 1. The India Act of 1784 established a dual government. The Board of Control was the representative of the Crown. The Court of Directors represented the company. Neither of the two administrations was responsible to the British nation. The India Act had failed to form a regulating body that could make the company more responsive to the aspirations of the Parliament and, thereby, to the British nation. The Board of Control had weakened the administration of the company. Neither of the two governments was answerable for their deeds to anyone. Gradually, the anomaly was identified by the Parliament. The Parliament found that neither of the two administrations was ruling India and the actual rule had slipped into the hands of the British bureaucracy in India. 2. The dual government established by the India Act was not based on political principles. The Board of Control was established to frame the policies in civil and military administration that the Indian government had to execute. However, the officers who executed those policies in India were appointed by the Court of Directors. If the Court of Directors were reluctant to enforce the policies framed by the Board of Control, it could have created difficulties and delays in implementing those policies. It had happened in practice. However, the other side of the story was that both the parties, with the Board of Control and Court of Directors, followed the English spirit of reconciliation. The system continued to work till 1858. In the earlier years, Mr. Henry Dundas made it function for 17 years. After that, its system staggered with numerous adjustments for a long period and ended in the dissolution of the company. 3. One of the major complaints against the dual government established by the India Act was that it was dilatory and cumbersome. On average, it took 2 years to get a response to a vital dispatch directed to the Home Government in London from India. The dispatch, which originated in London and headed towards India, repeatedly underwent a dismal procedure. The dispatches on important matters kept shifting between the Cannon Row office of the Board of Control and the Indian House office of the company for final clearance before leaving for India. The process caused a long delay. The essential matters languished or were tackled by the whims and discretion of the bureaucracy in India. Undoubtedly, the India Act had made the Indian bureaucracy stronger than the government in London. 4. The India Act did not fix the obligation of the Board of Control. The Board of Control became an institution of interference in the working of the Court of Directors. The board was a part of the ministry. The ministry did not take any responsibility for the actions of the Board of Control. The interference of the Board of Control even extended to India. The board conspired with governor-generals in India, sidelining the prerogatives of the Court of Directors. The Court of Directors did not remain passive, and they tried to assert their position in reaction. In such a scenario, the administration of India suffered on the sideline while the demonstration of the power play continued in the dual government. There was no one to decide the responsibility of either government. Conclusion. In short, the Board of Control was established to bring the civil and military administration of the company under the control of the state. It was meant to regulate the working of the company as per the British national aspirations and sensibilities. However, it damaged the working of the Indian administration and extended the influence of a parliamentary body to India.